Okay, I feel semi-hopeful that this set of videos will go pretty quickly. Um, let's uh, let's get started by a quick recap of what we did last week. We started with Node.js for the first time, and we ended up creating a template that kind of imposed an MVC kind of structure on our code and pulled in some useful libraries and some things like that. So I think we're ready to move forward from there. Let's come here. Here I am at the command line. This folder that I'm in right now that says demo, that was the folder that I created a repository from last time, and that contained the template directory with the work we did. I think the way I'm going to start this time is I'm going to copy that template directory. And I know we have a variety of versions of SayIt going on here, but let's just go ahead and just call it SayIt again, since you know, those other versions are on the CSCI server and you're kind of working in your own local directory. I'm going to do a recursive copy -r, and that'll get everything in template and move it over to SayIt. If I were pulling my template from a repository to, use the repository as a starting point, the SayIt directory would not have this node modules in it, and if I wanted to kind of recreate that, because we're not versioning that, I could just do an npm install, and it would actually look at my package.json, figure out what needs to be installed, and actually recreate this directory and all the stuff in it. But since we created this pretty recently, I don't think there'll be a bunch of updates and other stuff, so I feel semi-optimistic that that's just going to work the way it is. So here I am in the SayIt directory. Let me just go ahead and do an npm start, and hopefully it'll start without crashing. Yeah, there's some console log writing that I did. Here's my new template directory here. Let's come back to the browser and come to localhost 3000. And what I've got here is some stuff that was from my template from the last time. So I think all that stuff looks great. All right. I'm trying to remember now. Maybe I don't really remember adding this stuff to my template, but I guess it was there, so we may have to pull some of that stuff out. So our goal for this set of videos is to basically create a static SayIt application in the Node.js framework. We've got a bunch of already working server-side code, or I mean to say client-side code, that has all the views that we need, all the CSS settings and whatever. Basically what I did is I went back to in week 5 when we had done SayIt. That was the week when we added user authentication, so we had all the pages that we were going to need. And in week 5 we were still doing the plain old PHP version. So I went back and basically just pulled out all those resources and put them into a single folder. If you come to Josephus and go to the Web 2 files and programs, I've got a zip file here, this SayIt Node.js front end starter zip, and that has all the stuff that we need in it. So what I'm going to do is I just copied that. I'm going to come here into SayIt, and I'm going to hopefully wget is installed here, and we're going to get that zip file. Oh, okay, it's not installed. I guess I'll just do it the old-fashioned way, and I'm just going to have it download from the website, and I'm just going to copy it from my downloads directory. So that was that. So I'm going to copy ~downloads and that big zip file. I'm going to copy it here. So we're going to unzip that document, and it created this rather long folder name, but anyway, all the files that we need are in here. So I'm going to do a few steps to kind of make this a little bit easier to work with. The CSS and JS files I'm going to put into our template in the public folder. So this SayIt NodeJS starter / CSS, all the CSS documents I'm going to put into public CSS. And I'm basically going to do the same thing with the JS folder. And so all the JS files we will put into public JS. The only thing I think we need from there, I don't think we need the SQL stuff, we just need the PHP documents. So I'm actually just going to move those here in the current directory so they'll be easier to get to. And I think I'm done with all that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that folder and delete the zip file because I don't want that hanging around my repository. So basically all I've done is taken that code and made it more accessible and handy. I think maybe the biggest first step I'm going to take is to try to get my index route working. So let's look at our routes and kind of see what was left in our template. We had a main.js, and I'm going to go ahead and use main as the for most of our stuff. And then we're going to have a separate auth route file, and we're also going to have an error route file. In an application this small, we could completely put all that in a single file and we would be okay, but I just kind of want to show the process of what it looks like if you had a bigger project. And so it's like, okay, we're going to have a bunch of routes in this category, a bunch of routes in this category, and we're going to have our routes and controllers kind of map each other a little bit. So it looks like when you visit the home page, we go to main controller and call get hello. I'm going to call that get index since that's our index page. And therefore I need to go into my controllers, and I think at this point I'm going to switch over to VS Code. No, I'm doing that from the command line, but I think you're probably going to be using VS Code. So here we go. Let's come over to controllers, main.js. This is no longer get hello. This is now going to be called get index. Our view, I think I'm going to change the name of the view to index. The title is not going to be first page. The title is going to be SayIt, which is our app name. And I don't think we're going to have a message. So let's take the message part out. And we'll just leave the title in there. So if we move over to our views directory, this hello.js I have renamed. So I'm going to come here. And instead of hello.js, this is our index.js since I said load that view. So now I think the names are lined up. We're loading CSS main.css. Okay, that's not right anymore. That's actually going to be SayIt. That was the name of our CSS document. And we had a bunch of stuff in here just to show that things could work. We do want the title still to be the title. Oh, you know what? I think all this stuff is going to go away. I'm not sure why I was fiddling with that. So here we go. We're going to start by pulling in our index.php file. Oh, and I can't do that in VS Code. Okay, we're going to do this instead. Back at my command line, I'm going to copy index.php and I'm going to call it views index.ejs. So I'm just going to wipe out what was there. Notice if I come back to VS Code, it shows, okay, here's the new version. We're just going to create a static site, so I'm going to get rid of all this PHP code, and there's a bunch of it there up at the top. So here we go. Our ref, I'm going to make that an absolute one, so it's /CSS SayIt is the style sheet. We're pulling in some fonts. We're pulling in jQuery, and we're pulling in our JS. Again, I'm going to put a slash in front of that just to kind of make sure that's all going to work out well. Anything that has PHP code in it, basically, I am going to remove. and make just plain HTML. This is going to be a static site. So right now, even though I don't want all these buttons showing all the time, I'm going to deal with that some other day, not today. And I'm just going to put all those buttons right there. Okay, here we are. We've got more PHP code. I'm going to take out all that. So we have a section. In there we have a button, and I'm going to go ahead and take out this dynamic behavior here on the buttons. The message ID, we're going to have to leave blank at the moment. We'll fill that in, and we're going to delete CSRF token because Laravel's NodeJS is going to help us out with that a little bit. Okay. So we've got the timestamp. I'll just put the word today. The topic, fun stuff. I'm just hard coding an entry here because I don't want to. Mary says, and here is the actual message. This is so fun. And I'm just trying to create one. We'll just have one message hard coded. Well, you know, we know that styling actually works pretty well, so we'll just keep it like that. All right, we're almost done with this index page, I think. Let's go ahead and get rid of all this. There's still more PHP code. Here we're loading the topics. So we're going to take off the echo. We're going to create a couple of options. We'll have fun stuff as one of the options and cool stuff as another of the options. Or they can enter a new topic, and again, here's more PHP code that we're going to have to pull out. Yeah, I know this is pretty mechanical and tedious, but this is what we got to do. Or you can type it all from scratch. Either way, to me, this feels a little easier. I think that I'm just going to take out for now. We can figure out which parts of that have to come back in, removing the CSRF token. How are we doing? All right, I think all that's fine. A few more piddly parts of PHP hanging on here at the bottom. Eventually we'll need to figure out what we're doing with that piece too. All right, I think we got rid of all the PHP and have a couple placeholders in place. Let's see how we did. So I'm going to go to terminal, new terminal. That'll open this up here. I'm working in the SayIt directory, and we're ready for npm start. And no error messages, so that feels promising. Come back to the browser, refresh. Okay. It loaded SayIt. There's all the buttons that we uncommented. We've got one sample message here, and we have our form and the button, and it's all being styled. So I feel pretty good about this. I think it's time for a break.